Imagine this. You're standing in Rome in the year 180 AD. The empire stretches from the misty hills of Britain to the deserts of Syria. Roman roads lace the known world. Roman law rules millions. And yet this is the beginning of the end, not because of one epic collapse, not because of a single invading army, but because Rome was quietly bleeding from 100 wounds, many of them self-inflicted. In this video, we break down the situations that weakened the Roman Empire and why, even after its fall, Rome never really left us. Let's start at the top. One of Rome's biggest problems was political chaos, especially in the later empire. After Emperor Marcus Aurelius died, Rome entered a period where emperors were often assassinated, overthrown by their own armies, or replaced every few years. During the crisis of the 3rd century, Rome went through over 20 emperors in 50 years. That's not leadership, that's whiplash. When emperors rule briefly, they don't plan long-term. They raise taxes, appease the army, and focus on survival, not stability. Rome didn't fall because it lacked power. It fell because no one could agree on who should wield it. Next, money, or more accurately, the lack of it. Rome's economy depended heavily on conquest. New lands meant new slaves, new taxes, and new wealth. But eventually, Rome faced challenges in conquering. Military costs skyrocketed, trade routes became less secure, and emperors debased the currency, literally mixing silver coins with cheaper metals. This led to rampant inflation. Prices soared. Trust in money collapsed. Barter returned in some regions because coins weren't worth the metal they were stamped on. An empire that once thrived on economic integration began to fracture financially. Rome was famous for its legions, but even they changed in dangerous ways. As the empire struggled, fewer Roman citizens wanted to serve. So Rome increasingly relied on mercenaries and foreign recruits, many from the very groups pressing against its borders. These soldiers weren't necessarily disloyal, but their allegiance was often to their commander, not Rome itself. At the same time, Rome's borders were massive, thousands of miles long. Defending them required constant manpower and money. Eventually, the army became both Rome's greatest expense and its greatest political threat. An empire guarded by soldiers who could also crown or remove. Emperors were never truly stable. Rome also suffered from the weight of its own success. Managing an empire this large without modern communication was brutally inefficient. Orders took weeks or months to travel. Local corruption flourished. Emperor Diocletian tried to fix this by splitting the empire in two, the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire. It helped in the short term, but in the long run, it left the West weaker, poorer, and less defensible. When Rome finally fell in the West in 476 AD, the East, the Byzantine Empire, kept going for nearly another 1,000 years. Here's the thing. Rome may have weakened, but it never disappeared. Its influence is everywhere. Our legal systems are built on Roman law. Many modern governments borrow from Roman republican ideas. Latin shaped the languages of half the world. Roads, cities, calendars, even architecture still echo Roman designs. When you hear phrases like the Senate, veto, or rule of law, that's Rome talking. The Roman Empire didn't just fall. It transformed its ideas, surviving long after its armies vanished. Rome wasn't destroyed overnight. It eroded slowly, unevenly, and tragically human. And that's what makes its story timeless. Because Rome's greatest lesson isn't about barbarians at the gates. It's about what happens when power, prosperity, and stability are taken for granted.